can't see any of the chat stuff from last week, so
What's up, everybody? We're here, Flyer Live Podcast, episode 24. I almost said 23. I forgot. I'm bad at math. The numbers getting too high now, and I'm really bad at math. Accountant's bad at math. Um, but yeah, 24 episodes, Mitch. Flyer Live Golf Podcast. We are an amateur golf podcast. We don't talk about the pros because we're not pros. They live on a different planet than we do. Um, we suck, but we have fun. And that's what we like to talk about. So, Mitch and I are here every week on Thursdays, 8 p.m. Central Normal Time. It's the only time zone that matters. Talking amateur golf. We're competitive golfers. We play for fun sometimes. We do all the golf things. We're trying to learn as much as we can about golf on top of whatever we already know as semi-okay golfers. Some of us semi better than others, Mitch. Um, yeah, we're trying to build a community here of amateur golfers that just want to chat golf and hang out and maybe play some golf occasionally. We've done that before. We're live on X, live on YouTube. Our replays are also saved in those places as well if you're catching replays. If you're here live, feel free to chat along. We have some chatter the last few days or the last few episodes, which has been fun. So yeah, feel free to chat along if you got questions. This week, Mitch, we have our good friend Dan Winters here of 3570 Golf Co. Amateur golfer, golf coach, fitter,
golf
all
golf
things of
professional.
golf.
Sorry.
Is a golf professional.
Sorry,
So,
professional.
we're
Oh
breaking our
my
rule here.
God, Dan, I'm so sorry. You like golf professional better than golf coach? I call the guy that I have worked with coach. I wonder if he hates that. I might have to stop doing
It doesn't matter. I get called coach. I get
that. I see
it's just a title.
if you were teaching me, I would call you coach because that's what I'm used to calling like sports people in like
Cool.
basketball, baseball. I'd call you coach. But
Easy
do you like
peasy.
when people call you pro? I see that all the time
Uh,
on X or wherever. It just people if you're a pro or even just like even just a decent golfer, an amateur, you'll just be your nickname will be just pro. Hey pro, do you like that or does that bother you?
it doesn't bug me, but it's it's not my favorite. It's just
It gives me a weird
yeah.
feeling. I don't know what it is. Every time I read it, I just like kind of grimace a little. I don't know.
hmm
It doesn't matter at all. But anyways,
Sometimes guys and they'll say it like in a way that just makes it sound like condescending in a way, like, oh,
yeah.
it's weird. I don't know. It's just weird.
I don't like that. That gives me weird feelings. And also pards. Pards gives me like a weird feeling as well. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
We got some buddies that we joke and we use parts, but that's just like an inside joke for us.
I think that's like a southern thing. I think I hear that more of like pros that are playing like team events that are from like down south. I think I hear that more often.
Mhm.
Anyways, Mitch, I
Yeah.
always get yelled at for talking too goddamn much. Um,
Well, don't worry. I also got yelled at for talking too much last week by the commenters. So that'll happen.
Is, isn't that what you're supposed to do on the
yeah, I
podcast?
guess. Yeah. Well, so 2 weeks ago, somebody told me to shut the hell up and let Mitch talk. And I was like, you know what? Almost every show we finish, I usually apologize of some sort to Mitch and be like, I'm sorry I talked too much. And then last week, the same guy was like, Mitch is talking too much. Anyways,
Uh,
Mitch, I have literally talked for 10 minutes. What do you got? Do you got anything? Do you play golf today?
I went out and played a few holes this morning before it started pouring down rain and there's tornadoes.
It has
Uh,
rained all day today.
yeah. Uh, but I was really just trying to get some technical practice and then trying to just play like 6 holes, trying to work on those same things on the course. Nothing special, but over the last few days, I have played some excellent top 100 courses in Minnesota up
That's
north
right.
and got my ass handed to me handedly, and it was not very fun. And that's why I was at the range today trying to work on stuff.
Nice. Dan, have you played Northern Minnesota golf before?
Uh, I've caddied, if that counts, in the Twin City area. I mean,
Oh, Twin Cities area
that's
definitely doesn't count. We're
That's
talking
that's
like
not
yeah,
north of North, like we're talking damn near Canada.
no, no.
Okay, it's like halfway from the like southern Minnesota border to Canada, maybe a little farther, but
Mhm.
that's where like all the if you like Google top whatever public courses in Minnesota, like 8 of the top 10 are up where Mitch was this
Yeah,
past week. So
yeah. So it was played Deacon's Lodge, uh, the Layman at Cragen's, and the Classic. The Classic is overrated, in my opinion.
yes,
That's
100%.
gonna anger some people. It's a top 100 course. Overrated. It has some cool bunkers. Greens are nice, but the layout's really wonky. I don't. It's
Interesting.
not. It's not super special, in my opinion.
I'm
Regardless, I had my ass handed to me. When I played Deacons, I hit 4 greens in regulation. That wasn't fun.
yeah. It's
And then like,
interesting the farther north you go, at least in Minnesota, the farther north you go, smaller the fairways get, the smaller the greens get, and the taller the trees get.
the crazy,
The
yeah,
golf just gets way more difficult the farther north you get. It's pretty crazy.
the crazy thing with Deacons is the fairways are super wide.
Oh, they actually
So,
are. I've never
yeah,
played
so
there.
you can hit the fairway really easily at Deacons, but it's the approach shots. I mean, the greens are relatively small. If you miss, they had all the pins super tucked too. I mean, they were in the corners of every green. But if you missed on the short side 5 yards, there's like severe fall offs, and I had my ball like kicking to the woods. Like it was just, it was rough.
Oh,
Sounds like what
It's like
happened to my
brutal.
ball at Elmwood. Just
I know
fall
it's like
off the
Oh,
green and then I can't get it back on the green.
it really was, except in northern Minnesota when that happens. I mean, instead of like a 10-yard 20-yard fall off and you're in the rough, it's 10-yard 20-yard fall off and then you're in knee deep grass, so you're not finding your golf ball. So
Beautiful.
yeah, but anyway, then at Layman's I think I lost 5 or 6 golf balls in my first 5 holes. uh
In the
shot
trees?
four, yep, just in tall grass.
Oh, just in the
oh,
grass you lose them.
Yeah, yeah, tall
That's
grass.
uh,
And
that's
shot
annoying.
shot 47 on the front. That was horrible. And then I shot one over 36 in the back. So I finally remembered how to hit a golf ball.
bounce
Beautiful.
back. Love it.
Need it. But you know what? We're not here to talk about my terrible golf. But what we're here today to talk about is talk to Dan about club fitting, because club fitting, in my opinion, I think Josh would agree with this, is that it's an important part of everyone's game, especially today's day and age where we can customize so many different heads and shafts and grips and all this other sort of stuff, and make sure that it meets the golfer where they're at currently in their swing, and as they make changes they can adjust heads and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's going to be a good conversation with Dan to learn a little bit more about how he approaches club fitting and just his general takes.
Yes. And I have about 100 questions, so
Oh jeez. Yeah.
Well,
and
we
I just
might be
added
here for
another
a while.
question.
Yeah, we have like 45 minutes left, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
man.
This is gonna be a problem for me because I like the getting into the fucking weeds of stuff like this is right up my alley. I have
Maybe I can like hit like some highlight or some pieces that'll like scratch the itch a little bit. So maybe it'll like tick off a couple of questions that we've got.
let's let's just start overall. And the reason that this came up and why we asked overall to for somebody that knows club fitting to come chat with us, and then you were graceful enough to come hang out with us and chat about it. There was a tweet. A lot of our topics come from tweets,
Almost all of
but
it.
almost all of them.
Exclusively Twitter content.
There was a tweet. It might have been from I don't know. I don't remember who it was from, but it was basically questioning the validity
It was Jake.
Oh, it was Jake. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It was Jake,
Mhm.
our good friend Jake, who invited us to Elmwood. He was questioning whether club fitting is even worth it because he had an experience or two or three where he got fitted for clubs and then they were just terrible, and then he went to something different and ended up being good. So overall, let's just start overall, and the dogs are very interested in this conversation as well, obviously. Uh, what are your thoughts when you see people say things like club fitting doesn't matter, whenever I get fitted it's always a terrible experience and I get worse at golf? I mean, that's where we're starting. So why don't we start there, Dan? How does that make you feel?
Jeez.
That was a
Lo-
loaded question.
lo- Loaded. Um, Considering this is
I don't,
like
by the way,
what
I
I
don't
do for
believe
a
that.
living.
That's just how this
Um,
conversation got started. So,
um, this, I personally, I do think there are some people that are not out to truly fit properly. I mean, not everybody has the best of intentions. That's more how they operate a business or whatever they do. But club fitting is absolutely important. I mean, what your set makeup is. I mean, I've got literally Katie's clubs right here and mine right here. All of your clubs, they're tools. They have to have a purpose. They have to have an ability, whether it's yardage or heights or whatever, curvature. I mean, it's just so different than what it used to be. I mean,
mhm.
I look at it when I got into the business 18 years ago to now. I mean, it used to just be like, okay, yeah, it looks like you hit that one pretty good. Here you go. Here's your 3 wood, Mr. Smith. Off you go. I mean, we have so much more data with how far it carries, what does it spin, what's the peak height, what's the descent angle, all of that. I mean, there's long story short, it'd be like walking into a gunfight with a toothpick. I mean, why would you why would you not, if you have a person that you trust to really look after your game, work you through the numbers, show you why something's better, not just be like, oh yes, here it is. Here's your
Yeah,
$1,100 5 wood and go enjoy.
yeah.
Um,
I think that's the uh, I walked you into like a relatively easy question, but I think that's exactly why people have that's what happens when people have bad experiences is they go into, I won't name any names, but they go into a big box store of some sort because some big box store will say, "Hey, buy these clubs, we'll give you a free fitting with the clubs." Cool. So they go in and they're going to get fit for a driver, and the sole purpose for a big box store is to get as much money out of you as possible. So you go in and they'll give you numbers. They'll say, "Hey, your carry number with this driver was 265, with this one is 270. Maybe it's slightly a little more offline than the one before, but it's a little bit longer. So here you go. And also, here's a shaft that's 300 extra dollars. It's going to be better. Just trust me, bro." And then you leave, and then you take it out to the course, and you have no you have no comparison or barometer to what happened with your old stuff because they didn't ask you to do that. They just put some numbers on a screen and said this one's better than the other one. And just because this one's better than the other one, that means this one's the best for you. Here you go, take it to the course. I think that's what happens. And then people take it to the course and then they realize it probably wasn't as good as what they were using before. And they're like, well, shit, why did I even do that? Well, because you didn't get fit properly. You just went to a store and somebody promised you a free fitting with the club and you didn't even understand what that actually meant. And then you bought the club and then here we are. I think that's, long story short, what happens with a lot of people's fittings. And I think that's where the discourse comes from, is that people don't get proper fittings.
sure. Yeah, we see that. a lot. I mean, if you don't start with what you have, you're just shot in the dark. I
Yeah.
mean, unless you walk in and you say, "Look, my driver's 35 years old. I just need something different." You just you have no idea. I mean, probably going further down the line here, had a lady come in on Tuesday, and she said, "Everybody tells me I hit my driver too high and I don't hit it far enough." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's see what you got." We hit 5 balls, and I looked at her and I go, "I don't think I can humanly beat this thing." Like, ball ball speeds were awesome. Peak height, which for her is somewhere right around 50 to 60 feet in the air, which is not high. Like, high, a lot of times when I hear people come in and they say I hit it too high, they hit it off the crown of the driver. Of course, like, it's a pop up. Like, that's it's high, right? Like, that's not ideal. But she hit it right in the middle of the face, and I'm like, "Look, I'll throw every bullet I can at this, but I'm not winning." And I didn't. I probably got like 5 yards, and I'm sorry, $600 is not worth 5 yards to her. So it was
Right.
like, "No, thank you. Please go on your way." Like, there's no chance. Like, and if she would have walked in without it, she would have probably walked out with the exact same club for no reason.
For sure.
Just just like she had like a V series. So what, it's been in the last 10 years. So $600 just doesn't make any sense if you hit it that good. It
Right.
was awesome.
Right.
Like, okay, at like 75 miles an hour, you are kicking tail. Like, go home and enjoy this and tell everybody else that they don't know what they're talking about. Awesome.
Right. Speaking of testing with, old stuff, or, comparing to your old stuff, I'm under the impression or firm belief that most of the clubs that are coming out nowadays, especially drivers, maybe irons and things maybe are still kind of catching up in technology a little bit, but drivers for sure. There's been such a push in technology with drivers with the big OEMs that they have all pushed themselves to as close to the limits as they possibly can the last, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, that if you have a driver that's 5, 6, 7 years old, that does not mean that it can't perform like a driver does that just came out 2 days ago, just because the technology is so close to being as close to the limits that you can get, that there's just not a ton of gains you can get if you're just talking about X driver from 6 years ago versus X driver in the same exact specs versus X driver from 2 days ago. The technology is just so similar that you like, if you have a 6 year old driver, it may not be better than a driver that came out yesterday, just because technology and drivers just hasn't really changed too much.
It kind of depends. I know this is not the answer everybody wants to hear, and this is not like the fancy way to go about it. It's legitimately player dependent.
For sure.
Um, like, I always kind of use the adage for drivers, especially if somebody's like, they're a highly skilled player, they play a lot, or they treat their game very hard on themselves and how hard they practice and whatever. If you skip a generation, so let's just take your manufacturers that have 2 year cycles versus 1 year cycles. Um, if you skip a generation, so that's 4 years, right? You will probably see some change. If you skip 2 generations for those, you're going to see a massive gain. Like, whether it's heel to toe, ball speeds, whatever, you will see a change. Like, year to year, like 12-month cycles, no,
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Like,
the
like
old The old commercials you see that say you can gain 10 yards of distance by using this driver are trash.
Well, you missed the legal fine print down
Yeah.
here in the little corner over here that says in comparison to your 2008 or 10 driver. So, like that, like that's always the hard part is because, like, I mean, we are to the point now where you're not going to see middle to middle be drastically different.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get an occasional somebody fit within the last 2 or 3 years or even year where, like, whether it's the head weight's too heavy or swing weight's wrong or which swing weight, that's a conversation. Jenny Shin, I think, talked about that on Twitter recently, where her driver was too heavy.
Yeah.
Um, but like there's any number of things that could lead to a massive gain for somebody fit in the last couple years, but in by and large, like year to year, no, not happening.
Yeah.
I kind of figured.
I actually really like that answer because you started with it depends. And that's how you know somebody knows their stuff because it's not some
Yeah.
candid, just some BS answer that people want to hear. Like, because everything really does depend, right? Every individual has a different swing, the way they deliver the club, their limb length, all of that can affect what makes a club right for them.
Well, and day to day,
Yeah.
right? How many golfers walk in one day and they're like, "Hey, this is not normal," and then if they had the opportunity to come back the next day and they go, "Well, this is normal," like I always kind of prefer to see the guy that walks in and I don't see their best. Like
For sure.
I don't need you to pure it. I need to see what it's like when you accidentally hit the one on a par three that is not perfect. Like I want to see that shot. Like if you walk in and you hit me 50 straight iron shots that are perfect, awesome. I fit you for if you are A plus playing golf the best you've ever played it. What happens in like a week if you can't find the face? Like we got a problem.
Right.
Yep.
So I mean, fitters can get a bad rap, um, but at the same time, um, looking out for who's there, involving the player is always very, very important. Like even if they don't know anything or they say they don't know anything, you can form up questions that helps them maybe understand what's happening.
Sure. Uh,
Oh,
bef-
I got a question about shaft lengths for you, because what I find myself doing a lot. So I got fitted with just like the standard shaft lengths for driver irons. But what I end up finding myself doing a lot is choking down on it a little bit. So
Mhm.
I have maybe an inch and a half of shaft that goes past my hand. In your experience, does that affect a player's ability to like release the club head? Does it change anything drastically, or do you really find that it doesn't matter as much?
Length can, I mean, especially if you talk driver. I mean, if you get too long and the player can't get off the heel, that's a big problem, even if they grip down, because swing weight can change. I mean, all of these things. So, um, iron, you can kind of get away with it. I mean, I would say probably across the board anymore, we're starting to see a trend versus maybe a touch shorter in overall length, where you're starting to see a lot more players play standard to slightly over length stuff, whether that's just the golfer and the player have changed by how tall or big they are. Um, but really, to finalize fit or to look, it's always nice to have proper length. Um, driver for sure. Iron, you can kind of get away with it a little bit because I mean, there's plenty of guys who grip down a half inch on an iron and wouldn't know any different. But driver, that's the killer because the heel. I mean, you get guys that can't square it up because it's too long, so on and so forth, or too heavy.
I think JT is actually pretty well known for choking up on pretty much all his irons. I
Mhm.
think if you watch him hit any iron, he's pretty choked up on it. Speaking of
Anthony
pro
Kent.
golfers, yeah. The his old school swing.
He
I don't know if he still does it, but he did before. What
he did okay.
I was gonna chime in earlier. My cousin Rudy on Twitter or slash X, I assume all three of us are aware of who he is, has asked a question for Dan. He says,
He knows.
he says, how much distance am I giving up by still playing my R11 irons that are about 10 years old?
Uh, he knows.
He knows.
Probably not. Like we've talked. It. I would think that if he changed into a similar iron, if you kept spin right, he'd gain the club
Yeah,
just with ball speed.
yeah, yeah. They just pack so much technology into the like within like even the last 5 years, they pack so much tech into those clubs now that you don't even have to try too hard and the ball will go farther. Yeah, it's for sure.
It's it's
Question
great.
on the driver length thing that you just said.
Mhm.
There was at one point a couple of years ago, maybe even like right around COVID time, I think it was really popular for people to extend the driver length because that would help with the swing speed if you could get it around, which obviously increases ball speed, which obviously increases distance, which obviously increases your chances to score. Um, is that still a thing where people are extending the driver length so that they can get more distance? Or I've also seen something that said actually if you shorten it, you can actually swing it faster and you also have more control, therefore ball will go farther. Is there a consensus nowadays, like within like the last year or two or three, versus people were just kind of not sure whether what if they should make it long? Because I know they just set a limit on how long the drivers could be because people were doing that, something like that.
46, if I
Yeah,
remember
46, something
right.
like that. Yeah.
Um, Long story short, middle of face wins. Period. I do not care if you play a 43-inch driver or a 45 and 3/4 inch driver. Does not matter. Middle of face wins. You could play the longest driver on the planet, but if you hit 1 out of 20 in the middle, you're going to hit a shorter driver further because you hit it in the middle of the face more consistently. Um, Understanding that and probably across the board, I would bet somewhere around 70 or 80% of the driver fits that we do are not quote unquote standard length. I mean, I would bet 45 1/4 to 44 1/2 is almost very common, which that's a 1/4 inch short to what, an inch and 3/4 or an inch and a quarter short. Depends on who it is.
So you're most of the time fitting people into clubs that are shorter than standard versus what was the rage right around COVID time where people were like pushing like the limits on how long you could have a club.
Yeah, probably. I Yes. Long story short, yes. I mean, that was really popular with Bryson, and then you had
Exactly,
JT
yeah.
with what, 50x at the maximum length that he was testing at the time, just trying to see how fast they could move it, which the studies are all a little different. It's somewhere like 1 inch is anywhere between about 1 to 3 miles an hour, pretty much across the board. 1 mile an hour for like a couple more dimples into the heel or into the toe, depends on what it is, right? It's not going to necessarily mean you're going to hit it further. I mean,
Interesting.
I'm currently at the longest length I've ever actually played for a long time. I mean, I've been 44 1/2 for years. I mean, that's actually half inch longer when I played when I was in college. And I'm now right at 45, which results are mixed at this current point, but I'm going to blame that on the golfer, not the not the club.
The reason I ask is I fit myself into my driver into a longer shaft right around COVID time, and I've used that since then. I've used the same shaft since then. A few different heads, but the shaft has been the same. And mine's at 46. I'm taller. I'm 6'3", so a longer shaft probably a little bit better for me just because of my height. But I text Mitch last week or the week before because I've end of last year, even though I was playing pretty good golf end of last year and most of this year, drivers kind of been all over the planet a little bit. Some rounds are really good. Some rounds are just like I got no fucking clue where it's going. So I'm like, Mitch, thoughts on me just sending my driver in and getting it snipped up like an inch or two. And we chatted about that for a while. So that's why I asked about that. I was curious. And now you make me think I'm probably gonna go do that now.
Don't go 2 inches. That's too much.
Yeah, I don't. I gotta have all my clubs a little bit longer. Plus, it hurts my back when I gotta bend over.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, anyway, moving off of drivers a little bit, I want to talk to you a little bit about what you've been seeing as far as like hybrids, 7 woods, 9 woods. I
Yeah.
know like the 7 wood and 9 wood is they're really starting to make a comeback even on tour. People are hitting them a little bit more. From your perspective, what's that change been like, and what are people gaining by, instead of hitting a hybrid, having a 7 wood in the bag, or just getting rid of a 4 or 5 iron altogether and putting a 9 wood or whatever in the bag too,
Or a
It's
2 iron.
or yeah, or the driving irons. Those were
yep.
really popular for a while, but I feel like those are starting to go away now too.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. Um, couldn't be happier to see 7 woods and 9 woods coming back. And this goes into that conversation of like how the fit starts or what all you actually do, because what the ball speed is for whatever golfer. I mean, a 3 hybrid and well, it depends on which manufacturer, 3 hybrid or 4 hybrid versus a 7 wood at 20, let's just call it 21 degrees in loft. Each golfer, depending upon how fast they are and what their angle of attack is, that matters. And if they just don't swing a 21-degree lofted hybrid very well, you give them a longer fairway wood and a little bit bigger head. All of a sudden, does that get the ball going this way? Which all of a sudden goes, hey, I can actually hit this club now out of the fairway or out of the rough, and I can stop it on a green or whatever. It's awesome to see those. It's been great the last couple of years with those coming out. Now, again, angle of attack and speed, and you get steeper guys that play golf, and fairway woods probably are not their jam. It's going to get high on the face. It's not going to go very far. Maybe whether it's a utility iron or something like that suits them better. I mean, but you can go anywhere. But really, it's where does the break happen? Where does hybrid need to get? Where does fairway wood need to get? I mean, you can get as crazy as you want. I've been dabbling in 4 hybrid for myself versus a 4 iron. I mean, standing at certain yardages, how good do you want to have to hit a golf ball at 220 yards in the air? I don't really work that hard at my game anymore. So let's just take a club that's a little bigger and make the ball go this way and straighter. So, but again, 7 woods and 9 woods are awesome. I mean, we see that so much more than like a 3 hybrid now. I mean, we're starting to see 4 kind of be the limit, if not 5, especially for the guys looking for iron replacements. We're gonna try to get as many fairway woods in their hands as they can to make it easier.
Mhm.
Do you I always wonder if ego is a part of that because obviously the bigger club heads are easier to hit. That's just painfully obvious. Does it make it difficult when you're trying to fit somebody and you're like, yo, dude, you should have like 7 woods in your bag and the ego comes into it of the person that's getting fit and they're like, I think I'm gonna look like an idiot if I have a club full of like head covers. Or do you struggle with that at all, or not really?
Depends, but yeah, I mean, you get pushback. I mean, guys that are clearly going to struggle at a certain club in their bag, and it's like, hey, I really think this could maybe work. It's kind of like know your room, know your audience, right? If you start to feel it push back, can you lead them like gently there with them kind of thinking they did the conversation? Or if you insert yourself in that, like, no, look, like I know what I'm doing, guess what? They're going to hit one bad shot and you could have sold them the perfectly fit golf club. And guess what? It's your fault. Like if you lead them there and let them see it, um, that's the best way I would say to do it. I mean, it's why, like, if somebody's looking for a full set of clubs, I very rarely will let them do it in one session unless it's somebody that I've worked with for a long, long time and I know their game and hey, we need X to do this or X to do Y. Like, very rarely in one can you get 13 clubs, let alone, I mean, guys that need guys or gals that need 7 clubs or 8 clubs because not everybody technically needs 14 clubs in their bag. That's just the ball doesn't go far enough. And why do we have 3 clubs that do the exact same thing? Doesn't make any sense. It's
No.
just a heavy bag, and why do we carry it? So yeah,
No, that makes a lot of sense.
long-winded, long-winded conversation on that one.
No, the reason I asked is it's actually selfish of me. I'm asking for myself because I've been considering getting rid of my 4 iron and putting like a 7 wood or something in the bag. But I can't help but to think that, yeah, of
Do
course,
it.
He's
yeah,
got it.
Do it.
yeah,
He's
right
got
there.
it.
Do it.
But the only reason why I haven't really done it yet is because I like how I can work a 4 iron. I just don't know if I'd be able to work a 7 wood the same way as far as like punch shots, if I need to hit like a low draw, a low cut, something like that. I just don't know if I can do that as much with a 7 wood as I can a 4 iron. But also, I
Not
rarely need to hit like a 220-yard shot. But
so like you're a good player. Like, um here's what I tell the best any golfer that's good. You need to travel with 14 or 15, like 15 or 16 clubs. I have 2 clubs that get worked in or out. I have what I typically play, which is 3 wood, 5 wood, 4 hybrid. And then when it blows, like the last week here, where it's just blowing 40 or 30 today, which that was nice. 2 iron, 4 iron, come out. Just just from like a, do I feel like I can lean it a little bit more when it's blowing that hard to pull 4 iron? But I mean, I don't have like my traditional 4 iron. I play an easy to hit club, but better players should at minimum have one extra club that they travel with.
So
Just plug
just
in and
based
out.
on course and conditions and all that stuff, you should have options to
Yeah.
switch in and switch out. Interesting.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. I
Yeah.
don't think I've not had let's see, 16 clubs for probably the last 20 some years. In fact, these 2 clubs that are actually in my bag right now are in the trunk at Elmwood. So
I almost threw all my clubs into a lake at Elmwood. So
That'll happen sometimes. I know that feeling all too well. Um, so I want to talk to you a little bit too about proper gapping too, because I'm sure you've dealt with this a lot. You just mentioned that some people are carrying 3 or 4 clubs in their bag that are essentially going the same distance within a few yards of each other. I think that's especially true at the top end of the bag, but when you get down to wedges and other stuff, having good gapping there is important. So how do you approach that when you're fitting somebody for those?
um you always start with pitching wedge. I mean, let's just say they're stock standard, whatever shot, how far does it go? Again, how fast they swing a golf club plays a big part in this conversation with, okay, what does your gapping need to look like? Generally speaking, it's anywhere from about 8 to 15 yards per club, just rough rule of thumb. You have some people that like to see those numbers be like 10 or 8, and then you have some that like to spread that out a little bit more. Um, but for sure, kind of, I'll use my bag for example. I pull, it's about 12 until I get to 4 hybrid. 4 hybrid up is where it starts to grow a little bit more. It's about 15 to 20 at that top end. But wedges, that's a whole different ball game, man. Like it is, like I know there's a gentleman who's from Canada who is a fairly well-known wedge manufacturer in this world with a very nice company, that they are very steadfast with about 4, maybe 5 degrees of loft change, giving you the most tools at the bottom end of your bag to score. And then you've got some other ones that you can stretch it a little bit. But wedges are a whole different ball game. Bounce and grind and
Mhm.
I
other stuff
I got
is
questions on those if you want to go there.
sure, whatever.
If you, because I think you're aware because we've talked about my bag before.
Hmm.
I am in wedges at the moment that were built to be single length wedges that are
Hmm.
they're the length of 9 irons at the moment, and I'm getting out of them. I'm getting new ones. Um, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I'm not sure how to decide what bounce I want to put in them.
Hmm.
And I know that the choice there is basically the terrain you're going to play on. Is it soft? Is it squishy? What are the bunkers like? Do you play in long grass? All those kinds of things, and that's kind of how you make your decision on what kind of bounce you're going to need. Um, we have an interesting issue in the Midwest. I think you have the same issue where you are as well, in that for half of the year, let's not count when snow is on the ground. For half of the year, the ground is wet and squishy. The bunkers are nice and fluffy. And for the other half of the year, the entire fucking golf course is hard pan, including the bunkers. so,
Mhm.
so, how do you have like a hard fast rule on how to fit people into bounce or ideas on where to go? But like if you're getting into a 60 versus a 56, is there different rules for what kind of bounce you want to put in those? This it sounds like this is more complicated than I'm asking it, but yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's kind of complicated. But at the same time, what's the club used for, right? If it's full swing, do you open it up? What does that all mean? I mean, like you can pick on any number of tour players across any tour that you want, ladies, men, seniors, whatever. You will probably see if there are three, let's call it four wedge with pitching wedge. Those three other wedges have a purpose. The bounce matters, but once you get to whatever their sand wedge is, whether it's 54 or 56, you might see a club with significantly more bounce. You might see it from like you call it Callaway or Titleist with C grind and Callaway, M grind and Vokey, where they can be opened up. They have heel trailing edge and back edge relief, and then maybe they play something completely different on the highest loft. Your conditions that you play in are important, but it's not the only deciding factor. I mean, if you play fluffy bunkers and you see this most of the time, you see a lot of guys that play golf on tour where they got a 14-degree bounce, 56 degree. Well, that's probably their primary club out of the bunker, unless it's a firm bunker, which then means they're probably using something in 60 or 58 or whatever that has slightly less bounce. I mean, I wish it was as simple as like, hey, it's the old days. Hey, you play and it's soft and it's wet and that's all it is. It again, this is where fitting plays such a huge part, and you like a player's input matters. Like, what do I do with my? I am looking to change how far my wedges go. I carry a 56. I want to maybe carry a 54. Can I still play a 60? I use a 60 degree all the time around the green. Like, a player's input is absolutely a part of that process. And if they're not helping lead that charge and they're saying, okay, well, you're the expert, just tell me what I need, that doesn't technically work for anyone really, and gives the fitter a bad name. And then the golfer goes, oh, I'm not getting fit. This is what I'm going to do. So again, this is like that. It comes all the way back around, right? So again, I know it's one of the things that I do for a living, but you're stupid to not involve somebody in that conversation. Because if you've ever spent any time around Bob Vokey, whew, you can learn some stuff in a second around that guy that is incredible. And they are like steadfast 4 to 5 degrees between clubs, like hands down. Like you can stretch it to 6 if you go 54, 60 at times, but like he would probably tell you that you're losing a shot or you're missing something in your game if you do that.
I'm told that like if you go more than a couple years without getting new wedges, you're also in trouble just because of how much the grooves and everything break down.
Hmm.
Um, as well, it's probably not again for those of us that have snow on the ground and can't play, maybe less of a thing, but yeah, that's a thing for me that I didn't understand right away is just how fast wedge grooves can break down just because of where you use them, especially use them in the bunker and stuff. Like the wedge, the clubs just like break down really quickly, and now you're losing spin and you're losing control and all types of stuff. It's very interesting.
For sure, the highest lofted wedge, 100%. Like that club needs to be changed out way more often than it does. But like depends on how many rounds of golf you play, right? But
Sure.
your 58 or 60, or if you're a 56 person and you use it all the time, that needs to be changed out a lot. Now, I'm not like 50 rounds or 70 rounds, whatever one of the manufacturers came out with like a year ago. You can play a little bit more than that. Like 50 rounds is just silly. So,
Yeah, I'll say I replaced my 56 and my 60 just before Elmwood, and it was a significant. I noticed it immediately, like significant difference. And I had played probably close to 150 rounds with the other two, and they were worn. Yeah, had some
I
wear and
I'm getting there with mine as well. So, but yeah, actually, probably around the number that you're at. So yeah, I'm
yeah.
due for sure.
anyway. So we got through every part of the bag except the putter,
Oh,
and I got a confession for you, Dan. I bought a new putter. Bought a new
oh,
putter. The lab link is out of the bag. Just dropped it off to a guy. Sold it yesterday. I
Nice.
got I got an
please,
Odyssey.
please. Oh, did you go broom?
I did not go broom. No, 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 no.
Oh, come on.
No, I got the number 7, the CH number 7
Love it.
Odyssey. I gotta tell you, it is been so much better. I
Awesome.
and I didn't go and well, actually, I did get fitted. I got fitted for the crank hosel. That's what he told me that I should buy a little more toe hang, and then I went and bought the lab. So so that was last year. So then I went back and I actually bought the putter that I was fitted for, and it's amazingly been better. But I think the biggest thing for me has just been the way that it meets my eye. Like I don't know else to describe it, but like with the lab, like that specific one, I don't know if the mallet would have been any different, but like I just couldn't tell when the putter was square or when it wasn't.
Yeah,
And with the putter I have now, like I know when it's square to my line, and I feel like I can trust it more that when I swing, like it's gonna come off on the line that I intended it to be, and it's been much better.
that's awesome.
So
That's
I don't know
awesome.
if you have any insight to putter fitting and specifically because I do think in all fittings, there's a matter of what it looks like when the player looks at the club just as much as it
Mhm.
does the actual performance.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Looks matter. I don't care what it is. Like I always tell everybody, you gotta like who you're taking to the dance. Period. Like, yeah, you could have the best fit thing on the planet, and if you don't like it, guess what? You're gonna find a reason to dump it. Is what it is. Um, Putter fitting is a whole different conversation. I could go on for a long time around about this because I do a ton of putter fittings. Um, but how the putter is designed, how whether it's a mallet, double bend, slant neck, crank, uh, blade, what do those do? Where how does that work with a player's alignment? What exactly is going on? Proper length matters, proper loft. Um, lie angle is it's a touchy subject. It can be really important, especially if somebody does something interesting in setup and they hit it a little thin. Whether it's heel or toe in the air, it doesn't matter. Like putter fitting is massive and it is the number one use club in your bag no matter what. If you one putt every green, guess what? You used it 18 times. There's no club in your bag you use 18 times.
It's a fair
Unless
point.
you used if you use the sandwich 18 times, we need to have another conversation. But
I've been doing that pretty recently, no lie.
um but it is literally the number one use club in your bag, and it's the one thing most people don't spend any money on. And they go, I'll just go buy one 150 or $200 putter, which there's not many of those anymore. But I'm gonna just go buy something different just to do it. I mean,
It's very
literally,
funny on X. A lot of the golf X people, everybody brags. It's a bragging point, Dan. Everybody brags at how many putters they own. That's not
that's
good, Dan.
that's like
Like,
that's scary. Now, can't say I haven't lived in that world myself at some point in time, but
If you own that many putters, that means you've probably never been fit correctly for the putter that works for you, right?
yeah.
So it's actually not something to brag about.
But putter, like I could go on for a long time. Putter fitting is really, really important. And um, say you spend $900 on a driver and you spend $150 on your putter. Well, the half a shot your driver gained you and the five shots your putter lost you doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can talk till the cows come home about shaft up charges and how meaningless they can be at times, or just a money grab. But putter fittings are so important. And that doesn't mean expensive. That's the other part. Fitting does not mean, sorry, man, you're in it for 12 grand for your set of golf clubs. Like you can stick inside of a stock standard offering. I mean, considering custom offerings now are like, shoot, we go like almost 100 shafts deep and irons that are like no upcharge or like $10 in upcharge. I mean, why not?
I
Um,
was gonna ask you about that. I was actually gonna ask you about that in the driver when we were talking about drivers, just because that's such a hot topic. Anybody talks about getting fitted, they're like, oh, you're gonna get a $599 driver, but it's gonna cost you $1,000 because the person that fit you in it said you need the upcharge 399 shaft that's gonna get you to $1,000.
there better be a reason why you buy it, and it better be that much better. Because if it's not that much better, then why are you doing it? Um,
No.
I mean, coming from, I would say, like the way we do business is there's a significantly less amount of our golf clubs sold that are that way than under what you would consider like standard retail 599.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
when I bought my new driver last year, they tried to put me in an upgraded shaft, and the spin rate plummeted to like 800. It was so bad. Like,
That's
no,
not
just
good.
no, just put me back in the standard one, and I was sitting at like the 1900, 2200. I'm like, let's do that.
Yeah. I I mean, like Katie, her bag, like literally sitting right here, there is nothing nothing is upcharged in her bag anymore.
And what's her
Like
handicap, by the way, Dan?
pretty good.
Yeah,
Plus plus 1.5 or two. It's pretty good.
yeah,
She can
that's pretty
play.
good.
Yeah, it's really
She
good.
can play. I if I wasn't a golf professional and been teaching for as long as I have and been able to dabble or test in some of the things that I play, if they didn't send it to me to try it, I probably wouldn't have it. I mean, just plain and honest. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd find something that if I was paying my own money, does it work better? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would say I'm a drastically better driver of the golf ball with a $350 shaft versus a stock shaft.
sure.
If I am, I got to work on my driving. If I'm,
That's a fair
because my
point.
driving's not great.
It's a fair point.
Oh. Well, before we wrap this up, was there anything else in the chat that anybody asked? If not, I mean, I know we're at our time here.
There is not. I do if we can steal an extra couple minutes from Dan. We've been getting like a lot of good information here. I got one more piece of the bag, Mitch.
Yep.
You said putter was the last piece of the bag to get fit for, but I think that's incorrect.
Ooh.
And uh I want to get Dan's thoughts on the golf ball and being
Mhm.
fit for the golf ball, because
Ooh,
a lot of people think about getting fit like into your bag and it's just clubs, driver, irons, wedges, putter.
mhm.
However, you said the putter is the thing that you use the most. Golf ball's the thing you use the most, you know?
True, true.
What are your thoughts on is there even a good way to get fit for a golf ball, or is it just kind of understanding like the properties of how golf balls are built and kind of knowing how your golf how your swing is and then matching those two up, or is there actually like value in going and taking like 50 different like golf balls and just seeing which one's better?
Okay, not 50. Like, um, golf ball absolutely matters. And if you're being fit, another point of this would be to use the golf ball you play, or at least use something very comparable. I mean, understanding how golf balls work and how they're manufactured is also it gets crazy with what you can find out with how certain balls react and what they do. But yes, very important. I kind of would adhere a little bit to kind of the Titleist rule of thumb on this one. Um, Feel around the green, 100% matters. The sound you like to hear. Some people like to hear clicky sounds. Some people like softer sounds. You start close and then you work back.
Okay.
Um, I've dabbled in a couple different golf balls over the last 6 or 8 months, just trying to figure out what I prefer. Numbers wise, test wise are really similar. It's more about what it feels like to me. Um, but say somebody walks in and say they play, let's just call it Chrome Tour for no other reason than just Chrome Tour. That golf ball changed for them drastically from what Chrome Soft was before, whether it's X or whatever, that golf ball changed drastically. And they say, okay, well, this is the one you played. Here's what you should play versus that. Chrome Soft X is what I used to play back in the few years. So Chrome Tour was considered, at least from like a ball speed perspective, similar, and then Chrome Tour X would have been slightly spinnier versus that. I mean, we're talking small numbers, a couple hundred RPMs, right? Um, and on the golf course, I would just see weird stuff, like golf swings that did not feel like that, and the golf ball did something completely different. And that's what started kind of the idea of testing and making sure you're in the right golf ball. I mean, I've used to eliminate all the headache, use Ballnamic. It's awesome. Like that's how I will do a lot of the ball fittings. I'll start with what somebody has. I'll run all their information with spins and heights and carry distances and use Ballnamic. And what you're going to get 5-ish. I think it's 5 or 6. I can't remember. Offerings off of it and literally go hit some shots on the green. Typically, I only say take 3 of them out because once you get 4 and 5, you have no idea what you're really gaining out of that.
Sure.
But Ballnamics literally, and from like an unbiased perspective, man, it is awesome. Like
It is.
it's how I use. We throw ball fitting in as a part of the full bag.
Nice.
And if they say this is the ball I play, do you have another suggestion or two? And then you understand, okay, here's what's most important to them. This is how we'll talk about what's needed. But Ballnamic's awesome. But ball fitting does matter. Having 7 different golf balls in your bag is not a benefit to you.
Especially the ones you pull out of a lake.
Especially those. Or having your special water ball that you pull out and it's a rock flight from 25 years ago.
Hey, now if I'm gonna do something stupid just for fun, I'm pulling out a water ball.
Well,
I'm
there
not
you
throwing
go.
a $6 Pro V into the lake on the left.
I get that. I
That's-
get that.
No, was that the last question?
Yeah, yep. I wanted to make sure we covered the ball, just because I think that's something people forget about quite often. And again, our world is, golfers on X usually, and damn near everybody is just like, ball doesn't matter. I'll just grab refurbed balls that just came out of the lake and I'll just use those, and it doesn't matter because I don't hit them good anyway. It's like, no, like that's no.
No,
So
it's awful.
yeah, so
And
I just wanted to make sure we cover that. That's all I got. Well, I mean, I got
it's
so
not a
much, but
scheme by the person fitting you to sell a more expensive golf ball. I promise you. They're yeah, cheaper golf balls. Like I don't want to pick on any manufacturer, but they're just not good. Like, just not good.
No,
They typically do the opposite of what the player wants them to do, and it's just yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
well, perfect. Well, thanks, Dan. We appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have you on at some other point in the future, but we'll figure that out as the time comes. But for now, everyone watching, appreciate you guys listening. Whoever guy asked the question, I can't remember his name right now.
My cousin Rudy.
We appreciate him watching it and chiming in here as well. But make sure you guys do all those things: like, subscribe, comment, share. We're here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Normal Time, the only time zone that matters. And
That's correct.
yeah, we will see you guys all next week.
Yes, and by the way, before we log off, 3570 Golf Co.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Go check those guys out. There may be personal interests in this chat at
They
the
actually
moment.
don't pay us anything. We just like them.
Yeah, more than like. By the way, I saw a hat with Ozzy on it, a new one.
Yes.
It's gonna be mine
Yes.
shortly. So,
Perfect.
anyways, check them out. Dan and his wife run 3570. We mention them all the time because we love them. So, yes, do that, and then as Mitch said, X, YouTube, whatever you got to do on those places, do those things.